What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the report. Welcome back to a brand new video. And the Miami Heat are officially in the Eastern Conference Finals. Man, this is such a good day to be a Heat fan. Your Miami Heat are one of the last 4 teams remaining in the NBA, the first ever 8 seed to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals in a full season. Now, obviously, this was done before once. I forgot by who, but it was in a shortened season, so it doesn't really count in my book. The first ever 8 seed to do this in a full season. Gotta be proud of ourselves, man. Obviously, the job is not done. 8 more left to go. We want to win it all. Now, we didn't come this far for nothing, you know. But I'm just enjoying the ride. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody expected us to be here. I don't think anybody in this fan base expected us to be here. So we're kind of just enjoying the ride, seeing what happens, and being pleasantly surprised by this team in the playoffs, man. And no matter who we play in this next series, whether it's Philly, whether it's Boston, I think it's going to be a really good series. I think we have a good chance of beating both teams. Now, obviously, when it comes down to the two, I'd rather play Philly as far as an easier matchup is concerned, but Boston doesn't look that threatening either to me. So you never know. Like there's a lot of different there's a lot of different possibilities that could come out of this, these two potential series. Now, obviously, Game 7 is tomorrow. As I'm recording this video, between the two, I'm definitely going to be tuning in to see, who wins that game, who we play. But this is not to talk about, the next series, because we don't even know who we're going to play yet. We're supposed to be talking about how the Miami Heat beat the New York Knicks at home and went to the Eastern Conference Finals, man. And I mean, that obviously, starting off the game, it was a very rough shooting start for the Heat. We didn't shoot well all game. We did not shoot well all game. And honestly, we did not shoot well all series against the Knicks. Now, the reason we ended up winning, if we shot like this against the Bucks, I don't know if we would have had the success that we did against them. But the reason that I do believe that we won against New York is because I just don't think New York is as talented as Milwaukee, and we kind of got away with shooting poorly from 3 against them, if I'm being real. Now, Jalen Brunson, man, you got to, give props to him. He was amazing last night, and he kind of just did everything that his team required him to do. Now, he had, absolutely, no help. It was kind of just him versus Miami. And, every defensive scheme, we would throw 2 at him. We would blitz, trap. Every single thing he had to answer for. So you just got to give a guy like that credit, man, and just tip your hat off to him, because you couldn't have done much more than what we did. He was making some tough shots, and he was kind of just knocking down everything last night. So he's definitely a fighter, man. I really wish he wasn't on the Knicks, because I just don't like the Knicks, and he's just a guy that I can't really hate or anything. He's just a very he's a really good player. He's a really, really good player, and I'm jealous that we got to go against him in this Eastern Conference for a while now. So yeah, man, Jalen Brunson is gonna be. He's already the truth, but he's gonna be really, really, good as far as an all-star appearance soon, in my opinion. Now, obviously, he didn't make it. Randall made it for them, but in my opinion, I thought he should have made it this year. He's definitely gonna make it next year. But yeah, we're not here to talk about Jalen Brunson too much. Just wanted to give him his credit. But yeah, man, the Heat, gosh, just fought through adversity, fought through everything that was going against them. They were not making their shots, so they relied on their defense. Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo, my favorite player on this team, man. He has proved me right. Bam is a star. Whatever you want to say about him, he is a star. Defensively, we don't have to talk about it. Everybody knows how good of a defender he is. His main criticism from Heat fans was, he's not aggressive. He was aggressive last night. And I know people will be like, why wasn't he more aggressive? Well, because Jimmy was hurt last night, and you could clearly see that he was playing, he wasn't 100%. You could clearly see that even in the picture with Jimmy's ankle, his ankle was swollen up so much. He clearly lost his burst, and he was just settling on taking jumpers last night. So Bam had to carry the load, and he did so. So Bam is not the number 1 option on this team. Now, people can argue saying he should be, he shouldn't be. I don't really care about all that right now. But when this team is fully healthy, yeah, you want Bam to be aggressive, but there's 2 guys ahead of him who take more shots, which is Jimmy and Hero. Obviously, Hero's not here, and then Jimmy was playing hurt. So Bam kind of just stepped up and just became that guy, which he's very capable of doing now. And a lot of people want him to average 25 to 30 a night. I just don't really know if he's, that type of talent, like as far as, someone who can just flat out give you buckets. The fact that he's averaging 20, 10, and 4 or 20, 11, and 4 is very impressive already. And like for where he was in his rookie season, just as a rim rolling, rim protecting big, you got to give him a ton of props because he's improved his game a lot. So Bam has gotten a lot of flack from Heat fans in the past. I just want to see apologies, or not apologies. You don't have to like take back what you said or anything, because maybe he won't be aggressive next game, but just cut him some slack, bro. Just cut him some slack. It's his job is not easy, and a lot of people who don't watch basketball will think that his job is easy because they'll think that all he has to do is just set screens and catch lobs, and that's not purely his job. He has to do everything on defense. On offense, he's the main focal point, the hub. If he gets in foul trouble, this team is basically toast. So, yeah, he does a lot for this team that just goes under the radar. So, it's got to give him his props. Jimmy had a quiet game. Like I said, did not look 100%. Hopefully this rest will give him some days off for his ankle. Lowry in the playoffs has been a different breed. Obviously, the scoring and all, not looking at that, but just his impact on the game was crazy, good. And then, you obviously had timely plays. That 3 from Strus was big. Duncan hit a couple of shots. Caleb Martin, I thought, was absolutely immense in that game. Vincent wasn't that good. Almost cost us with that stupid flagrant foul. I don't know what he was trying to do, punching Jalen Brunson in the face. I know it wasn't on purpose, but still, bro. That made me mad. I'm not gonna lie. Watching that, I was like, bro, what is Gabe Vincent doing? It was clearly a flagrant. But speaking of calls and officiating, I don't care about what the last 2-minute report said, bro. Scott Foster should not ref another Heat game ever. We barely won that game, and I don't know how the last 2-minute report ignored a lot of the calls that the Knicks got that they shouldn't have, or a lot of the non-calls that the Knicks, that should have been called on the Knicks. Like, I don't know what sport they're watching at this point. I know it said the Heat got away with 3 things, but there's no way the Knicks did not commit one foul that they did not spot in that game. Because Scott Foster was, just by watching the game, the Knicks were doing a lot of foul baiting. And they were just, I don't know what they were doing, but they were getting to the line, but they got into the bonus in 2 minutes when the fourth started. So yeah, Scott Foster, I'm just done with him, to be honest, man. I don't really care about the refs or whatnot, but the track record with him officiating our games has been horrendous. But we're not here to talk about Scott Foster, so we'll keep that short. I said I wouldn't be previewing the next series until I knew the actual matchup, but just kind of going over both teams. Philly and Boston propose different threats. Now, obviously, Philly is going to be Embiid-centered, trying to stop Embiid and Harden. Now, Harden in this playoffs has kind of been up and down. He's had a couple of games where he's had 40 points, and then he's had a couple of games where he hasn't even cracked 15. So, it's very, very up and down for Harden. I do think the Heat are going to play a lot of zone against Philly. They're going to send a lot of bodies and a lot of looks at Philly, because I think what they're going to try to do is get the ball out of Embiid's hands. He's definitely improved as a passer and a playmaker, but I think they're just going to try to wear him out and send 2. Now, obviously, Bam is definitely going to get the assignment if we match up with them, because obviously he's the center and Embiid, he's defensive player of the year candidate, blah blah blah. But Spo still might send 2. Their starting lineup, man. I think PJ, we saw it last year. And the Celtics are doing it again this year against PJ. They did it when he was on the Heat last year. They're kind of just helping off of him every single time, and his man is kind of just rotating onto Embiid whenever Embiid is has position. So I think that's what we're probably going to do, kind of just dare PJ Tucker to beat us. He can make corner threes. I'm not saying he can't, but you kind of would live with PJ Tucker making those than Embiid dominating you. And against Boston, it's going to be a different type of, matchup. You know what I'm saying? Boston is obviously going to be stopping Tatum and Brown now. Tatum has had a lot of shaky starts in the first quarters of these games, man, and it hasn't looked pretty. It has not looked pretty for Tatum, but he definitely has clutched up at the end like he did in Game 6. Boston is going to be interesting because Joe Mazzulla hasn't been that good in these playoffs. And I think against Boston, it's going to be interesting to see whether they start Al Horford and Robert Williams or if they just start Al Horford and have Robert Williams come off the bench. Last year, Robert Williams was very huge in protecting the rim and kind of trying to match up with Bam. I don't think Al Horford can guard Bam, so I don't know if they'll start Robert Williams. I'm not saying Robert Williams is like a Bam stopper, but he does a lot better job than Al Horford does. So I'm expecting a big series from Bam if Robert Williams does not start, which I'm not sure if he will or not. Like, we'll have to see if we even play them, but yeah, like, I think the game plan against the Celtics is probably just going to be to kind of bait them into taking a lot of threes. They don't really have, like, snipers on their roster. They have guys who can make threes, but it's not really, like, certified shooters. Like Derek White, Marcus Smart, Brown is a really good shooter, and then Tatum is obviously a good shooter. I also do think, Jaylen Brown's ISO game is going to be a little exposed against the Heat if we were to match up against them, because we saw what Oladipo did to him last year in the playoffs. Obviously we have a lot of history with Boston. That would be a good narrative, a good story, facing them again. It would just be really good, no matter what team, because even obviously, like, we don't really have, like, the best relationship with Philly either. Like, we don't like Philly, we don't like Boston. I think Philly would be easier, but I think the history with Boston is richer. So it's kind of a, give or take situation. Again, we'll see what happens. But right now, enjoy the Heat. On to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'll see y'all later as always. Peace.